Do you need a solid structure for your final judgment? I'll show you mine that got me the A star. Final judgment is neglected by many students, but it's an absolute crucial step to score 20 plus on your essays. The entire purpose of your final judgment is to show your examiner the best bits of your essay, but I also think it's a great opportunity to introduce some new points. I used the same 4-step structure for every single one I did, and this is how it went. Before we get started, I'll go through an example at the end to make sure it makes sense. Step 1, balance statement. You do this by reusing the words from the question, and I use this line every single time. Overall, I believe there are strong arguments for and against. Then just insert the words directly from the question. Step 2, present one of your strongest arguments for, then an evaluation to this point. So essentially, you're writing 2 points. A point for, then an evaluation. So the way I structured this was using the same phrase every single time. On the one hand, you have, then present your argument for, then evaluate this by saying, however, in evaluation. And a little tip before we move on is I would try to make sure one of your 2 points is a new point. Why? Because this means you can add even more depth and even more content to your essay. Step 3, present your strongest argument against and then an evaluation point. We are still using the same wording from step 2, but just changing it slightly. So now we're using on the other hand, and then when presenting the evaluation point, however, in evaluation. Step 4, the final sentence. The role of this is to show you've considered your essay holistically and come to a conclusion. The way I did this was using the phrase, overall, on balance, I believe. Then make sure to reuse the words from the question, and then make sure you pick one side of the argument. It does not matter which side you pick, it's just to show your examiner you've considered both sides and come to a justified conclusion. So like I said before, we'll run through an example to help it make sense. So the question is, discuss the view that depreciation of the pound will improve the UK's macro performance. Overall, I believe there are strong arguments for and against the view that depreciation of the pound will improve the UK's macro performance, as on the one hand, you have it will improve the competitiveness of UK exports and UK will import less, thus improving the UK's current account deficit. However, this depends on the quantity of FDI, foreign direct investment, which is lost from the UK due to depreciation in the exchange rate. As when the pound depreciates, investors lose incentive and become reluctant to invest in the UK economy, as they might lose out in terms of their own currency if this depreciation continues. This reduces investment in the UK economy, shifting LRAS in and AD in, limiting economic growth and lowering UK's macroeconomic performance. On the other hand, you have depreciation of the pound increases domestic firms' costs to supply, shifting SRAS in, decreasing real GDP, thus limiting long-run growth, hindering UK's macro performance. However, this depends on the timescale. I have a J-curve here, as in the long run, import demand is more elastic, so firms can substitute away from costly foreign imports. Overall, on balance, I agree with the view that depreciation of the pound will improve the UK's macro performance. To make this easier for you, I'll link a PDF down below summarising the structure from this video. If you'd like some one-on-one tutoring by me, A star last year, top link in the description to find out more. Lots of new videos being pumped out. Subscribe to not miss out.